Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 13th of August. My name is Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
And Gary, what a week. What an amazing week.
Do they get any bigger than that?
We have had the most incredible week because we have had, yet again, Gary, 100% clearance rate. When Melbourne was at an all-time peak, I reckon. 76% clearance rate in Melbourne.
Very proud of Melbourne.
Which I've got to tell you, Melbourne, what a great job. And the other auctioneers in Melbourne, you excelled yourself.
Yes.
But not quite as good as us.
8 out of 8.
100% 8 out of 8.
Doesn't get better than that, Phil.
And I've got to tell you, 8 out of 8, what lucky numbers too, Gary.
You've got to have the luck, Philip, and that is a lucky number. And 8 out of 8, and some really exciting auctions. Maybe we'll just quickly run through some of them, Phil. We can't talk about them all, but I know that the one in Bamborough Road on Saturday morning, that was a humdinger. I think the reserve was $550, and
Jeremy Rosens did that, reserve of $550, and sold for what?
$681,000.
I mean, that's $130,000 over the reserve, Gary. That's almost 25% more than the reserve, and that is actually a bit of a theme for the weekend. I did an auction in Malvern, Gary, in Summers Avenue in Malvern, and whilst the price is undisclosed, I can say that it was on the market and sold in front of about a crowd of 150 people. And there we had 3 people bidding really strongly, Gary.
Can we say it's in excess of $3 million?
No, we can't say that.
Okay,
but it was sold and sold well, and certainly a great result.
And I never said that figure. Let's talk about some of the other auctions that happened, Philip, because there's a few others to talk about. One of them was in Keene Street in Caulfield South.
Yes, Gary, I did that. That was my 11:30 auction on Sunday.
That is disclosed.
It is disclosed. We sold that for $1,050,000. And we had expectations on that property at really high nines and $1 million. So $1,050,000 was a good, strong result there. We
then moved on, or you did, to Springfield Avenue, Phil.
Springfield Avenue.
Undisclosed price, but
undisclosed. I hate this undisclosed, but we have to abide by our purchaser and vendor wishes.
Yes.
But that was a really good result, and what a really nice family that owned that property. And if you're watching GPTV, I did say I was going to take you both and your extended family out for dinner.
Yes.
And I'm now saying it on GPTV, so you know it's going to happen.
But you'll be paying, no doubt.
No, it's definitely on us, Gary. That means you are paying for it as well.
That's a personal bill.
Really look forward to that.
The absolute creme de la creme of auctions, one of the best for the year, was in Fosbury Avenue. We did talk about how we thought that would be going to be very successful.
Gary, we thought it was going to go well. But we never thought it was going to create a new Caulfield North record. And once again, the price is undisclosed.
Yeah, but it was hundreds of thousands over the reserve.
Not only that, Gary, but I did a bid count. Yes. So from when we declared the property on the market,
we can disclose that.
We can disclose that. Was declared the property on the market at $1,250,000.
Yep.
I took a further 94 bids from that point.
Wow.
The auction went on and on and on. And I've got to tell you, the price is sensational. Having said that, if the buyer is watching, there were 5 people bidding for it, and I have to tell you, the person that has bought this property has bought one of the best villas you'll ever see, right in the centre of the Golden Mile of North Caulfield, and just goes to show quality and position, when combined, mean an absolutely successful result.
Well, they could only have paid about $1,000 too much, because that was where the last bid was, Philip. So sometimes you hear about these big results and you think, oh, the buyers, you feel sorry for the buyer. The reality is, good properties create competition, and the values are established there.
And one of the things that I'd like to say, Gary, is that at a competitive auction, when it gets down to the end, and generally the end we're bidding in $1,000 rises, the buyer really is only overpaying by their last bid, which is often $1,000, but you didn't say it as eloquently as I did.
No, I said it beautifully.
Now, why are we so good at Gary Peer and Associates? That's probably why you're asking yourself as you sit here watching GPTV. One of the reasons we think we do a really good job, and we're a growing organisation, is because we are committed, Gary, to training.
Yes.
Our staff, we train our staff once a week as a minimum. Often we have 2 training sessions, but we have a compulsory Wednesday training session where we have a mixture of you and I talking. We also bring in external speakers, and we also go out for training.
We do.
During the week, Gary, I flew to Sydney in the pursuit of always learning, Gary. I flew to Sydney on Monday night. I spent all Tuesday and all Wednesday at the Josh Fegan Blueprint Conference.
Yes.
And Josh Fegan is one of the greatest trainers in Australia currently. 2-day session.
And I'm sure it was full of Melbourne real estate agents.
Do you know what, that was the best part? I was the only person from Melbourne, and I love that.
Yeah, they know it all.
But I'm going to cut away here. We're just going to cut very quickly to Josh Fegan because it was fascinating to be at this conference.
Terrific.
So here I am with the man himself, Josh Fegan, not just trainer to Australia, but now you've gone international. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's right, Philip. So we're now doing work in not only Australia, but also New Zealand, the US and the UK, and working with some of the best agents in those countries.
I've got to tell you, from our point of view, to be able to get this guy to train our team, knowing that he's seeing the best of the best, not just in Australia, but right around the world, is pretty exciting. Congratulations on this morning. You've filled the room with some of Australia's best real estate agents.
I think, Philip, for them, their focus is about getting on to make sure that they can become great agents, deliver phenomenal services for the end customer, and making sure that they're really good at the listing and the sales process, making sure they get really good prices.
Fantastic. And tell me, you travel right round Australia, and we said the world. How would you rate Gary Peer and Associates?
I think that from our perspective, in looking at Gary Peer from the outside, the quality of the fixtures, the quality of the fitting, the quality of the people, and the way that you're doing the marketing, particularly with all of the video stuff, has been like really, it's industry benchmark, and it's actually leading now. So that a lot of people are trying to replicate what you've been doing in terms of the consistency around the negotiation and sales process, and also making sure that you've got a full suite of services from property management right the way through to the sales side of the business.
So there you are. You've heard it first. GPTV, other than Gary and I telling you how good we are, this man absolutely knows. Thanks for coming on to GPTV,
Cheers.
Josh.
Well, that was good to see you there in Sydney, Philip, living it up, living the high life while I'm working and slogging away. So thanks a lot for that.
Actually, Gary, all you
I'm
saw...
not sure if you did attend any of that conference, actually.
All you saw...
You were spotted on Bondi Beach in a
All
G-string.
you saw me do then was attend a conference.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, while you were suffering in Arctic conditions in Melbourne, I have to talk to you about where I stayed.
Yes.
Because I love Sydney. I love going to Sydney. It's a great place to go for business. It's a great place to be a tourist.
It is.
I have found the best hotel in Sydney. And you know that we've stayed in some pretty good hotels in Sydney. I don't mind saying we've stayed at Sheraton on the Park. We've stayed at the Westin. We've stayed at the Four Seasons. So we have stayed at some good hotels, but I found the best hotel in Sydney. And viewers, you have to have a look at some of the footage. I stayed at a place called the Seabull Pier 1, which is just at the rocks, right underneath the Harbour Bridge. It's built on an old finger wharf, so it actually comes out virtually almost over the water. Have a look at some of the footage of this hotel because it's incredible. And I would like to say thank you to the general manager of the Seabull Pier 1 for upgrading me to one of the best rooms I've ever stayed in my life. Have a look at this. Well, it's been a hard day at the conference. I've spent a whole day absorbing fascinating information. Can't wait to get back to Melbourne. Thankfully, I'm staying the night at this magnificent hotel, which is the Seabull Pier 1. And the team can't do enough for me here. It's a fabulous hotel. It's a fantastic location. The service is incredible, but wait until you see the room they've put me in.
Yeah, you call that working. I hope that was paid for your personal check account, not the company, not on the company's account, Philip, because that looked a bit too outrageously beautiful to be true. It was sensational. The best hotel. Now, it gets better than that, Gary, because not only did we stay at the best hotel, but that best hotel, the Seabull Pier 1, has agreed, even after they had to clean my room from all the champagne bottles, but they have agreed to give a night's accommodation at their fabulous hotel away to GPT viewers. So, bit of a quick competition. If you want a night at the Seabull Pier 1, you have to send in to ideas at GPTV. Ideas at garypeer.com.au. You have to send in two things. You have to send in your #1 criticism of GPTV, and you have to send in your #1 compliment of GPTV. So we really want to learn from this. A night at the Seabull in Sydney, fantastic accommodation. Best suggestion wins.
Best suggestion, but you've got to send in those two suggestions.
And look, I don't want to hear about my hair anymore because I had a lawyer, let's just call him Stephen the lawyer, who wrote to us about my hair. And I just want to say to you, Stephen the lawyer, when you said that my hair was all over the place last week, you were right. Anyway, I'm going to get a haircut, Phil, and clean up my act. Get back to real estate. Let's talk about what's going on. Firstly, where are we right here now, Phil? 798 Alfred Street in Paran. How good is this property?
This is the most fantastic 3-bedroom town residence, Gary. Off-street car parking from the rear, fabulous courtyard garden. We're sitting in the lounge room.
What a great location, what a beautiful home. This one goes up on Saturday week, and you are going to be doing the auction, Philip, at 11:30 a.m. if I'm not mistaken.
Gary, we've had some publicity about us and our firm over the last week.
Yes, we're in the news.
We're on a roll at the moment.
We're on, for some reason, Fox FM have had great pleasure in having a go at you, Philip. See if we can get some footage here, some sound. Let's have a listen.
Philip, do you know what, Jules? We discovered Philip last week.
Yeah.
And
he's
now
an
I love Philip.
absolute celebrity now. Philip Kingston from Gary Pier. He's a real estate agent, and God love him. I mean, every morning he wakes up bright and early and he records a signature voice message that is actually allocated to every single day, like today's.
I mean, we played back his Friday message on Friday, which is why you claim he's so well known now. Let's have a listen.
Thank you for calling Philip Kingston on Monday the 5th of August. Please leave your name, telephone number and a detailed message after you hear the beep, and I'll return your call just as soon as possible. Thanks again for calling and have a great Monday.
It's the effort.
Man.
The effort and the happy tone.
Yep.
I love it.
Now, what I love most about him is, I mean, it's quite easy delivering your own passion. But what we've since found out is his entire office, everyone in sales is requested to do the same. So he might wake up and go, well, this is an expression of mine. No. But then poor old Sally, who's been in the job for a couple of months, has to wake up and say to her boyfriend, Nick, now shut up, Nick, I've got to do this thing. Hi, it's Sally. It's Monday, 5th of August. Leave a message. Oh, have a great Monday.
Yes, and we've had, that was very funny, wasn't it? So they've bagged you for your voicemail service, Phil. So that was very, very funny. And of course, now we found ourselves yesterday on Monday in the Australian, wrapping up the weekend. And a little photo of you there, Phil. A little snapshot, if you will.
I've got to tell you, Gary, we not only have incredible voices now for radio, but the Australian newspaper, Rupert Murdoch, is chasing us for footage of our auctions.
You are like the Kyle Sandilands of real estate, Phil.
I've got to tell you, Rupert, if you happen to be listening, and I do believe Rupert Murdoch is subscribing to GPTV, you can buy this show, by the way. Look, absolutely, we're happy to have our own cable television show.
And not for much, not for much at all. Let's talk about this weekend, Phil. We've got 12 auctions, a very action-packed weekend.
Actually, maybe we could get Rupert Murdoch on the show.
Can we talk about real estate?
How good would that be? I'm going to send him an email this afternoon.
Rupert Murdoch would not, if you were on fire, do you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about this weekend's auction, Philip. We are this Saturday morning, Unit 2 at 343B in Neeran Road, Carnegie at 10:30am. We're looking forward to that. And then moving on to Elsternwick, Phil, 8 at 29 Sandham Street, Elsternwick, a great address, and happens to be the place where my old Mrs. Cherry, who used to care for me as a young boy, used to live in that block of flats. I remember her delightfully. She was a lovely, well, I don't know about that, but she was a lovely lady. 1 at 12 Narwin Road in Carnegie, Philip. This is a terrific property being handled by Joel Sir and Adam Josky. That one goes up on Saturday at 11:30am. A terrific address and a beautiful property. We look forward to seeing you there. I am going to be at 12:30 at number 2A Buxton Street in Elsternwick. This is a magnificent unit, Phil. It's one of two, single level at the back in terrific order. I'm looking forward to auctioning that one on Saturday at 12:30pm. Be there, it's a beauty. Also Sunday we've got a number of auctions. We can't talk about them all.
But we're going to talk about a couple very quickly. I want to talk about apartment 1 at 7 Dickens Street in Elwood.
We'll do it.
That's a 2 or a 3 bedroom, fabulous apartment in a great spot. I'd also like to talk about one that's a bit of a favourite street of mine. That's Wilk Street. We've got apartment number 6 at 911 Wilk Street.
You're doing that auction?
That goes to auction on Sunday at 3:30. So sorry, at 2:30. I beg your pardon. And that's a great apartment.
And preceding that, just winding back the clock a little bit, at 1:30 we are going to be in Keene Street. Back in Keene Street in Caulfield South, we just sold number 26. We're now offering number 5, and that's a fantastic home. And I think in a very popular price range, in that sort of 1.1 to 1.2 bracket, I see good value for that home, Philip. We've got a smorgasbord of great real estate coming up, ladies and gentlemen, and lots of real estate news to share with you. It's all happening. Enzo Raimondo, he's going to come back for part 3 of the trilogy, like the Lord of the Rings, isn't it, Phil?
It was a trilogy, that interview, wasn't it?
It was a trilogy, and lots of news always coming at you at GPTV. It's been an action-packed week. again, come down and see us here at Alfred Street. We've got a lot of interest in this house between sort of that $800,000 and $900,000. Who knows what it will sell for? The market will decide.
And please don't forget to send your idea, your compliment and criticism about GPTV to ideas@garypier.com.au to win that fabulous night's accommodation next time we're up in Sydney. Maybe we should actually get in contact with somebody at Qantas or Virgin. Maybe they'd like to throw in the airfare. So
or Jetstar.
We will Jetstar as well. We will
or Tiger. Tiger.
We will work on that as well. But at the moment, please send them in to ideas@garypier.com.au. I'm Philip Kingston. Have a fantastic week. See you next week.
I'm Gary Pier. Bye for now.